Top 20 Documentation Specialist Interview Questions and Answers. Documentation specialist is one of the administrative professionals' job posts for the public or private organizations. In this job post, a person will work the documents of various departments internally and externally. A documentation specialist will be responsible for sorting, retrieving, tagging, classifying, and storing for later use, or can be responsible to provide the same documents to the legal authorities at the time of audit or need. Keep in mind, as documentation specialists, candidates should demonstrate outstanding organizational skills and attention to detail. Careless candidates will lack interpersonal skills and struggle to communicate effectively. Here are the top 20 documentation specialist interview questions and answers for a documentation specialist post. 1. Why are you interested in this role? We apply for positions for a variety of reasons. We merely need a respectable job to pay our bills, keep ourselves financially free, and indulge in a few little delights on holidays most of the time. Demonstrate your enthusiasm and explain why you apply for the job. Sample answer. My first job was as a secretary. I used to manage various files and keep records there. It piqued my curiosity, so I took it on as a full-time job and chose it as my career. I have all of the necessary skills and talents to complete this task. 2. What are the roles of the documentation specialist? A documentation specialist is a person who is responsible for the creating, delivering, accumulating, storage, and maintenance of the documents of an organization. They are responsible for executing new storage systems, or working to improve the efficiency of existing ones within an organization. Sample answer. By having administrative skills, I am fully aware of the job responsibilities. I have already worked with many projects to deal with documentation work. I am expert in dealing with reading, delivering, accumulating, storage, and maintenance of the documents without any flaw. By having an outstanding background, I would like to improve the efficiency of your existing system. 3. What are the qualities that a documentation specialist needs to be successful? All organizations do not need employees to perform tasks in an artificial manner. They are looking for values and a variety of qualities in order for the person they are recruiting. A documentation specialist must be able to cope with the pressure and show proficiency to timely reach the right document at the right time. The best response to this question is: Sample answer. I am a reliable candidate for this post, because I acquired all the qualities that are mandatory to fulfill your requirements. I have analytical abilities, and all technical skills like electronic data management. I am dedicated to meet all the deadlines without any delay. I ensure the security. That is the biggest asset of any organization. Number 4. What major challenges did you face during your last role? How did you manage them? This question is intended to elicit the reason for your resignation from your former position. The interviewer is curious as to what factors prevented you from staying there. Is it your fault or the fault of your company? Interviewer also wants to know more about you and wants to make a friendly discussion with you. Sample answer. In my previous job, I remember, I lost the record of our client's portfolio. It was a very disturbing thing for me and also bad for my performance. After some time searching and asking a few other field employees, I managed to find it. From there, I usually save the record on my computer as well, and make a copy of the document as well, so that I do not lose important information. 5. Describe your daily routine as a documentation specialist. The reason for this question is not to discuss your personal life here. The interviewer wants to know how your professional day will start. To face this question, you should share your work schedule according to the nature of your job, keep the priority task first, and describe your work routine like this. Sample answer. As a documentation specialist, I will start my day by analyzing the previous documents that were closed previous day. I will check if any of the work is left over. I will make a list and set the timeline to complete it according to the authority's instructions, and try to achieve the work goals on time. 6. What kind of strategies and mindset is required for this role? A documentation specialist is a person who is fully responsible for all types of record related to the organization. So you must be able to keep your behavior professional and pay attention to any minor information that can affect your work. So your answer should be like this. Sample answer. Being a documentation specialist, I am fully attentive and keep note of every single information that is related to a company. As all work is related to documents, I focus on files and records rather than social communication. 7. Describe briefly about your experience. Every job comes with a set of responsibilities, so understanding your previous experience will assist your interviewer determine how prepared you are for the position. Your ability to describe your work history and tie it to the position can show that you've thought about your potential employer's expectations, even if they can see it on your resume or application. So, we suggest you keep it short and reply to the question confidently with work history. Sample answer. I have already worked as a documentation specialist in XYZ company for the last 2 years. I have also done many documentation control certifications during my job to improve my proficiency and learn many latest technologies to innovate my knowledge and skills. 8. What is the biggest challenge that you foresee in this job? The recruiter will ask this question in order to know what can bother you. Sometimes, this question is asked to make prearrangements for you, so try to give an honest reply over here without any hesitation. Sample answer. As I previously stated, your company also uses a manual data storage method. The only issue I may have in this mode is the loss of a key document, or on rare occasions, late acquisition. I'd recommend storing it digitally as well, and with permission, I'll make a copy of everything. 9. How do you stay motivated in your work? Many candidates are thrown off by this question, since it is wide and easy to misread, and it can catch you off guard if you haven't thought about it first. The fabulous response to this interview question regarding your motivation is genuine, but they should also relate to the position you're applying for, by implying that you'd be a good fit for it. Sample answer. Every passing day increases my motivation regarding my work. From childhood, I was a class representative of my school and helped my teacher to maintain class records, like attendance register and other documents. Handling documents in the right way is an art, and I am an artist to handle it properly. 10. Describe a time when you failed in this role and the lesson you learnt. No one in this world is flawless. Everyone makes mistakes. The interviewer is well aware of this, and he or she is asking this question to examine how you manage circumstances in which you make mistakes. Give an example of how you accepted responsibility for your mistake and worked to correct it. Also, what you learned as a result of the encounter. Learning from our mistakes can sometimes lead to the acquisition of useful skills. Sample answer. When I was working as an intern, I was processing insurance claims for my client. In one case, I made an unintentional error about the client's information, and the company faced a lot of criticism as a result. This put a lot of pressure on my staff, especially when it's our job to stay accurate and thorough. Our team suffered as a result of the error, which was worrying. I was resolved not to make the same mistake twice, so I talked to my boss about work tactics I might use to avoid making the same mistake again. Since then, I haven't made any more task errors, and I'm much better at keeping track of my work. 11. Why do you feel you are the most suited for this role? Employers ask this question for a variety of reasons, including assessing your skills and qualifications, as well as your confidence in your ability to do effectively in the role. So, be confident and answer this question wisely according to the nature of your job and your skill set that makes you the most suited candidate. Sample answer. My abilities and skills are a perfect match for the prerequisites for this post. My communication and administrative abilities, in particular, make me a strong contender for the position. In my last position, I managed documents of health insurance and implemented new software for back and storage of documents that enhanced productivity by 15% in 3 months. I'm confident that I'll be able to bring this level of achievement to this role. 12. Share with us your greatest achievement. Employers adore asking about your most significant professional achievement or accomplishment. They demand a thorough example or tale in response. As a result, you must be prepared. Achievements increase your self-esteem while also providing reasons for a recruiter to hire you. This question is asked so that they can see what kind of accomplishments you've had previously. Sample answer. My biggest professional achievement was turning around the health insurance department at my previous firm. When I first arrived, the entire department was in a bind, and we were falling short on documentation management. I was asked to come up with new innovative technologies, which I devised and implemented on my own. We exceeded our expectations by 20 to 25% within 6 months, and my documentation strategy generated many trusted clients and revenue for the company in the second half of last year. 13. How will you ensure you make no mistakes in your work? Employers ask this question for many reasons, to judge your skills and assess how capable you are. So don't be confused, and answer this question according to the nature of your job and your skill set that makes you the most ideal candidate. In the answer you should suggest the different ways to eliminate the problems. Sample answer. I will double-check every single entry made by me from the system, for the same technique will be applied for offline record to keep the information accurate. I will properly label each document and conduct an audit every week to verify the information. 14. What would you suggest to your company to secure files for cyber attack on your electronic documentation? Interviewer will ask you a very technical question regarding your job. You should be prepared and answer in a way to keep your profile up. For the protection of company records, candidates should detail the file protection software and network security systems they would implement. Candidates do not need to implement the protections themselves, but they must ensure that their personal information is secured. These software work history should be mentioned on your resume as well. Sample answer. Protection of documents is the biggest responsibility. In previous firm, I had worked in many file protection software, that is, SolarWinds Security Event Manager, Intruder, Sixsense, Acunetix, NetsParker, Vipra, etc. 15. What is the most crucial trait in a documentation professional, in your opinion? As vital traits in a documentation expert, candidates should highlight outstanding organizational abilities and attention to detail. You should explain the main attributes regarding this job to become a prominent candidate. Sample answer. Responsibility and accuracy is the most vital attribute of this job. Being a documentation specialist, I am fully attentive and keep note of every single information that is related to a company. As all work is related to documents, I focus on files and records rather than social communication. To verify the information, I mostly conduct an audit to increase the quality of documents to make them flawless. 16. Which software or applications have you used to help with electronic filing? For this question, candidates should list a number of applications they use to assist them in their job. Look for candidates who describe the benefits and shortcomings of each application briefly. You should know in advance the company where you are coming for an interview, which software they are using to maintain their record. If you know the software in advance, then it will be easy to answer this question. Sample answer. I had already worked on the following softwares to create and manage the documents as per company policies: Microsoft SharePoint, DocuWare, Google Drive, Alfresco, M-Files. 17. What kind of challenges do you want in this documentation expert job? What difficulties are you looking for in a position? Is a common interview question used to evaluate what you want in your next job and whether you'd be a suitable fit for the position being hired for. The easiest way to respond to queries about the difficulties you're looking for is to talk about how you'd like to be able to use your abilities and experience effectively if you were recruited for the job. Sample answer. I believe challenges motivate me, that I can effectively meet obstacles, and I have the flexibility and talents to handle a difficult job. You can check my work experience and achievements. 18. What is your greatest flaw? No one enjoys answering this question because it necessitates a fine balancing act. You can't pretend you don't have one. You can't deceive the interviewer by claiming a personal flaw as strength. So be faithful and answer wisely. Sample answer. Sometimes I work too much and don't maintain a work-life balance. This often creates stress in my life, but I am working on this as well. 19. What is a typical work week like for a documentation specialist? Interviewers expect a job prospect to go into great depth about what they do while working. Before you respond, think about the job you're looking for and how your present or previous jobs relate to it. You will be more successful at answering the questions if you can relate your previous experience with the job opening. Although it should be self-evident that discussing non-work related activities on company time is not a good idea. Sample answer. As I already explained, work goals are my first priority. So I keep these goals first. Well, I am not social. 20. Do you have any queries for us? In the end, many employers ask this question to know what you are thinking about them. Here we suggest you never inquire about salary, perks, leave, posting location, or anything else. To demonstrate how early you can contribute to your organization, ask questions like, "Sir, with your kind permission, I would like to learn more about induction." Sample answer. Sir, with your kind permission, I'd like to receive comments so that I can assess and enhance my strengths while addressing my weaknesses. Conclusion. Documentation expert is a fancy job title, but it's also a popular one. It's not stressful. You can sometimes spend the entire day at your office hanging out, and you'll earn more than most other administrative and office management professionals. Here were the top 20 documentation expert interview questions and answers for your interview preparation.